Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
Have you noticed that there's one group that has not made any noise or made videos complain about Trump's policies hurting them or their business? Black farmers. How many videos have you seen of black farmers, excuse me, making videos going, oh, I'm going to lose my farm because Trump cut off benefits. I'm going to lose my farm because Department of Agriculture no longer gives me subsidy. How many videos have you seen of black farmers doing that? That's because black farmers have historically, till this day, been excluded from all government subsidies. So right now, every white farmer is learning how to survive the same way black farmers have been surviving. Like I said, what Trump was going to do was bring every white American down to the black American level. Welcome to Niggerness.
Hello guys, and welcome to the J Report. In today's video, we're going to talk about how black farmers have always learned how to survive on their own despite the hurdles. America has a way of making sure some people win while others lose. And for over a century, palm-colored farmers have been handed land, loans, and government aid like it was their birthright. Meanwhile, black farmers, they got shut out, pushed off their land, and straight up ignored. Fast forward to today, and suddenly, palm-colored farmers are panicking. Trump cut their funding, and now they don't know what to do. But you know who's not complaining? Black farmers. Why? Because they never got a damn thing in the first place. For them, this is just another day in America. And for those who are only now realizing how fragile their success was, well, they effed around, and now they're finding out. If this is the kind of content you enjoy, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing so that YouTube may recommend it to a wider audience. And so now, without further ado, guys, let's go straight into this video. But first, let me play you a few clips on this matter, and I'll come back with my commentary. As a side note, all credit goes to the creators of these videos.
So I'm sitting here listening to these farmers who got hit by the USDA funding freeze. And I just want to point out that these farmers don't look like me. So why aren't the black farmers on here yelling about, we're not getting our money, they're freezing our funds? Why are they not crying about it? I'll tell you why. Come here. Because they never got any money in the first place. So guess what? Self-sufficient. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Let's get her done, right? Whatever. But you voted for that. And you know what? So happy you're getting what you voted for.
You know, I'm seeing all these videos right now where all these farmers are crying about not getting no help right now. You know what? Let me ask you something. When have you ever heard of a black farmer crying about it? Never. And you want to know why? Because they ain't never got no help in the first place. That's right. USDA is literally admitted to discriminating against black farmers. And literally black farmers had to sue, thousands of them, to get what white farmers are handed for free. And fast forward to today, all these farmers crying that they can't get no help. You see, black farmers, they've been struggling. Y'all just now feeling what they've been feeling for over 100 years. Black farmers, they used to own over 19 million acres of land. But guess what? Systematic racism, denied loans, shady politicians, and legal loopholes wiped them all out. Yeah. And now they're 1% of America's farmland. When the government finally tried to pass relief for the black folk back in 2021, white farmers sued to block it, claimed it was reverse discrimination. Make that make sense. So, you know, next time you see folks complaining about farm aid, why don't you ask them, where's the help for black farmers? Ask them why their struggle is just now important when others have been suffering for centuries.
Let's take it back. The US government had a bright idea in 1862. That is, to give away land to help people build wealth. The Homestead Act promised 160 acres to anyone who could farm it for 5 years. Sounds fair, right? Well, here's the catch. Almost all of that land went to palm-colored families. Black folks weren't even considered citizens back then, so they couldn't apply. And by the time they technically became eligible after the Civil War, the system still found ways to lock them out. No money to travel to claim land, no tools, no legal protection. And let's not forget the good old-fashioned groups like the Triple K, who made sure any black person trying to own land in the South was run out, or worse. Meanwhile, palm-colored families built generational wealth off this land giveaway. Millions of acres passed down for generations. Farms turned into businesses. Businesses turned into empires. And today, some of those same families are still living off the benefits of that government handout. But for black farmers, it was a fight just to survive.
The U.S. government gave 270 million acres of land away for free. Guess who didn't get any? That's right. After the Civil War, 3,500 black families managed to claim about 650,000 acres through the Homestead Act. Now that may sound like a lot, right? Well, that's when you realize that white settlers got 270 million acres. Okay? Now, the way I figure that, that's about a 400 to 1 difference. To paraphrase Martin Luther King, it wasn't just the land. The government built land-grant colleges to teach white farmers how to work the land. Then they sent out experts to help them succeed. And then they gave them low-interest loans and subsidies to keep white farmers growing. Black farmers, they were just left to figure it out on their own. Here's the wild part. You see, after the Civil War and the Homestead Act, black folks made it happen without government subsidies, and by 1910, black folks owned 16 million acres of land, about 14% of all of the farmland in the U.S. And here's the amazing thing, right? By 1910, that 16 million acres, that was the top part. That was the apotheosis of black farming. Think about the color purple, where all those black folks own land. They own that 16 million. Now that's where this chart comes in. Now you see this blue line? That's what white farmers got for free. Okay? Now the Homestead Act is the second line. This is what black folks got. Okay? That's the handouts that black folks got compared to those handouts. All right? Now, because black folks make a way out of no way, this green line, that's what black farmers had in 1910. Now here's the part that always makes me mad. 16 million acres of land, 14% of all the land that was farmland in America. That was 1910. Think the color purple and how Mr. and all these folks had land. All right? You know what the last line is? That's what black farmers own today. About 4 million acres of land. Literally, there have been reports that over 90% of black farmers get rejected for subsidies and loans. So that means that a black farmer essentially can't make money picking cotton. Make it make sense. There's always one factoid that makes me think, man, you know, black folks, we are awesome. The one person, one of the few people who made any money or any earnings off of the Homestead Act, black folks, was a man named Oscar Micheaux. So now for those of you who know anything about film, Oscar Micheaux essentially invented black film. And he used his earnings to support a thriving black film industry for about 30 years in Hollywood. So don't tell me that land ain't important and black folks owning land aren't important. Think of all the Oscar Micheaux we could have had.
Even when black people managed to get land, America had another trick up its sleeve. Jim Crow laws, legal loopholes, and flat-out land theft stripped them of what little they had. By 1920, black farmers owned 14 million acres of land, but through shady legal maneuvers and racist policies, most of that land was stolen. Palm-colored officials made sure black farmers couldn't get loans, buy supply, or get disaster relief. The USDA, which was supposed to help farmers, became one of the biggest oppressors, blocking black farmers from getting the same aid their palm-colored counterparts were getting. Fast forward to the 1980s, the black farmers were barely holding on, less than 2 million acres left in black hands. And today, less than 1.5% of all US farmland is black owned. A whole community pushed out of an industry they helped build from the ground up. Now, coming back to today, after decades of getting handouts in the form of USDA loans, disaster relief, and subsidies, palm-colored farmers got real comfortable. So comfortable, in fact, that when the government funding stopped, they didn't know how to function. Trump pulled the plug on farm aid, and suddenly, palm-colored farmers were struggling. Some of them were crying online, panicking about how they would survive. Meanwhile, black farmers, silent, crickets, because for them, nothing changed. They were never given the luxury of relying on government money. Think about that for a second. The same people who benefited from centuries of land giveaways, free labor, and government-backed loans are now realizing what it feels like to be left out, and they don't like it. So here's where the FAFO moment comes in. Palm-colored farmers spent generations living off government support while black farmers were forced to survive on their own. They never had to learn how to farm without any safety nets, without special treatment. And now that their precious funding has been cut, they're lost. This is what it looks like when the playing field is even just a little bit. They effed around thinking the system would always protect them. And now they're finding out what it feels like to be abandoned. Meanwhile, black farmers just kept it moving because when you've never been given a helping hand, you don't expect one. Black farmers have been operating without USDA aid, without government relief, without anything. They've learned how to adapt, how to survive despite every system being against them. And now they're just watching as the same people who benefited from their oppression start to struggle. A few black creators have suggested on ways the black community can help black farmers.
Let's talk about how the black community can contribute to black farmers on a yearly basis in order to help save our farms for our food. Now, I came up with some comprehensive strategies for the black community that we can implement to help empower the black farmers and preserve the farms. We can host an annual Black Farmers Day festival, organize a community-wide event that celebrates black agriculture heritage, include a farmers market, workshops, and sustainable farming, cooking demonstration, using locally grown produce and cultural performances. This festival can raise awareness, build solidarity, and drive direct sales to support black-owned farms. Number two, we can create and expand community-supported agriculture programs, launch or enhance CSA initiatives that allow community members to subscribe to weekly or monthly produce boxes from the black farmers. This steady direct income stream helps farmers plan their crops and invest in improvements while fostering community connections to the food source. Number three, advocacy and policy engagement. We can form coalitions with the local and national advocacy groups to lobby for policies that address historical inequalities in agricultural loans, land access, and subsidies.
And so to summarize, America set black farmers up to fail from the beginning. The Homestead Act locked them out. Jim Crow stole their land. The USDA shut them down. And yet they survived. Meanwhile, pan-colored farmers who had every possible advantage are now struggling because their free ride got cut short. They effed around, assuming the government would always have their back. And now they're finding out what it feels like to be ignored. So the next time you see someone crying about how hard farming is now, ask yourself, was it ever really hard for them? Or were they just finally forced to play by the same rules as everyone else? So what do you think? Do palm-colored farmers deserve sympathy? Or is this just karma doing its thing? And do you think black farmers will ever get the justice they deserve? Please drop your comment down below. I would love to keep this discussion going. Also, I have another video on how Nebraska farmers bet on black dollar. And if you love such kind of content, please click up here and enjoy. Lastly, please consider subscribing, liking and sharing because it helps me grow my channel. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. And until the next time, the Joy Report out.